Hey everybody, did you know you can go to colinmullen.com in order to get art and art prints? It's true. It'd be a weird thing for me to lie about. And then you'd go to the website and you'd be like, wow, this isn't art. What is this? And it'd be something else. That'd be really dumb to lie about that. colinmullen.com. So let's talk about today's thing. Is art pretentious? There's a very simple answer to that, but I want to go about it a little bit roundabout first. First off, we should probably define what pretentious is. It's, ascribing additional meaning to something that doesn't really deserve it. I don't know what the textbook definition is, but it's something along those lines. So is art pretentious? Specifically, I think when we're talking about art, it depends on the, thing, the subject. Is it music? Is it modern art? Is it, just some kids drawing? What have you? And simply put, yes. Yes, it is. Art is pretentious by nature. The idea behind art, as I've said before, is that it's supposed to state a thing that the creator thinks is true about the universe and, hopes that people agree with him. And good art is when you find something that you can agree with the person who made it. But at its core, art is, a crushed up bug on, wool. Or maybe it's plant fiber and dye. Or maybe it's the sound of a string being strummed. It doesn't really matter. Essentially, if you were to break it down to what it is, it becomes pretty much nothing. It's meaningless. And the only reason that we care about it, the only reason that we have any opinion towards it, and the only reason that some stuff is pretentious and not is because we basically say that it's not pretentious. But functionally speaking, all art is pretentious. It's sort of just on a sliding scale of pretentiousness. You may think that this discussion on pretentiousness is pretentious, but at some point that word stops sounding like a word, I would imagine. Basically the short answer is yes, it is. But what makes, I guess, a better question is what makes art pretentious to the average person? Like, if we agree that all art is pretentious, then we can just sort of stop the discussion there and I can just move on to thanking my Patreon subs. But if we're going to talk about like what makes some art feel pretentious and some art not feel pretentious, some art feel deserving of the tears that you cry, etc., etc., then we're going to have to just go back to what I've said before about what is the purpose of art. And I think, again, it goes right back to that discussion. It's no different. If a piece is pretentious or not is going to be entirely based on whether or not you feel like it deserves the emotions that it's trying to grab for. And if you don't think it is, then you'll think it's pretentious in of itself, right? I mean, a piece could be just understated or talking about something you don't care about and not be pretentious necessarily, but still not meet the mark of being something that's, worth or good art in your opinion, because you don't agree with it, you don't connect with it. But I find that pretentious art generally happens to be art that also does not connect with me as a person, I should say. The other day I saw, and I don't know the context of it, maybe if I did, it would be great, I don't know. But it was some dancers and they had like foam attached to them, and they were just like jiggling with the foam, and people were like clearly like having an emotional response to it, to which I say that's pretty pretentious. But I also don't connect to that. I don't have a human experience to involve myself with that and go, yeah, that to me like reflects something in of myself. So yeah, in short, art is A, pretentious, and B, is, more specifically pretentious when it does not deserve the opinions or the emotions that it's trying to draw out of you, and for whatever reason they seem intent on getting them out of you. What do you guys think? Is my description good on that one? No? Maybe? Yes? Let me thank the Patreon subs, then I got another question for you after that. Thank you, Wapfu. Thank you, Theodore Corbiere. Thank you, Spiral. Thank you, Spencer Kane. Thank you, Punkster. Thank you, Flenixia Theoran. Thank you, Oboist Kirby. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Maliciousness. Thank you, Lost Nevada. Thank you, Kayla Hollinger. Thank you, Geizuzan. Thank you, Duxu. Thank you, Kathy Rose. Thank you, Bubba Fair. Thank you, Pep. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Adam Kearney. And thank you, Ants! So anyway, thank you to all those people. But I also want to ask you guys a question, especially if you're a Patreon sub, from $1 on up to however much. What do you guys want me to talk about next? I've got a book of stuff that I've written down that you guys wanted me to talk about, and I've gone through a lot of that, and, you know, every now and then I'll have an emotional experience or something that I feel like I need to talk about, but what's something that you want me to talk about? Let me know in the comments, and I'll be looking for, like, interesting stuff that, you know, I'd like to talk about as well. Anyway, here's me signing off, and here's me signing out. I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.